celebration Q&A.
We agreed to do that phase.
What phase? Oh.
And she didn't do it. So I don't know what's going on. But hey, look, I reckon you guys might have thought after the video from last time, this whole breakup thing. Yeah, share. Yeah, then you probably wouldn't have seen.
So I'm sharing. So what are you doing? Get sharing, get commenting, get posting, get as many people on here, because this is your opportunity to ask away any challenges that you've got going on and anything that you may not be having a solution for right now. So what's going on for you? What questions do you have around business, property, relationships, whatever you wish? You can go for it. So get sharing, get posting, get commenting. We want to see you.
So look, where are you watching this right now? That's what I'm really interested in. It always interests me, like, where geographically are the people that are watching this? Even if you're watching this
from all over.
Yeah, even if you're watching this on the replay, where are you watching? Put hashtag replay #1 or wherever it is that you're watching it, and then put where you're watching it. Where in the world, so if you're in a different country, but if you're in England or UK, let's call it, then where are you? What location are you watching it? Where are our property investors? Where are they in the country? But is that another thing that people don't share where it is they're from and things? Because they're like,
oh, it's dark.
Is it?
I think it's because that's in the way. Let me move
Is it dark? It's not dark. I think it's just because it's so bright, it looks dark to you. Oh, no. It's a setting on here. Don't worry.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. So awesome. Boston. Yeah. Boston Massive is in the house. So what you need to do, guys, is you need to tag as many people. So look, real life tribe people, you know the amount of value you get from being in this environment. So why don't you tag a few of your brothers and sisters up in the real life tribe, and let's get them on here too, because I want questions. So Amma, give me some questions. Liliana, give me some questions, because we want to do a live property Q&A. So this is not one of those, wherever you're watching this, even you're watching this on a replay or it's put somewhere else like on YouTube or something, then this is not one of those pre-planned things where we've had time to look at the questions and figure them out.
Yeah, just do it live.
I mean, we have loads of questions come to us and we answer them and produce lots of material for the real life massive. Let's call it the real life massive. And then we answer them. Yeah, we get questions sent to us all the time. But this, we want to do some live. We want to do some freestyle. We want to give you the absolute truth and what it is. And also, if you don't directly know the information for a certain question, what do you do about it? That's what you're all going to learn on here. Yeah, so get that in here now. That is what you're going to learn in this video. Not just about answering questions, but also what do you do if you don't know? Tell us about your latest project. Awesome, we could do that. What's this? This is another one. Yeah, I want to tell you that I'm just grateful today, all the things in my life right now, including you and my tribe. I'm from Portugal, currently at Cornwall, but live in West Sussex. Hey, listen, that is some wonderful detail. That is commitment.
I love that.
You guys commit. I'll give you a high five for that.
Yeah? Go on, Liliana.
Good job on that. So why don't you tell us about the latest project? What do you mean, latest project? You mean
we have projects?
Yeah, latest project. Why don't we talk about? Why don't we talk about firstly the last one that was just furnished? Yeah, that could be the latest project. The last one that was furnished was a
8-bed.
Yeah, it was a HMO. It was already a HMO. We bought two of them next door to each other, but they're not actually. They weren't refurbed at the same time. We kept one tenanted, and then what we did was
to manage the cash flow.
Moved them all the best tenants into one house. Keep that cash flow in, paying for itself. Refurbed this one, which I don't know, was it the left or right hand side one?
It was the
looking from the road.
Looking from the road, it was the left hand side.
Looking from the road, it was the left hand side. So we did the left hand side one first, and then what we turn it in. So it was already, what was it? What was it licensed for? What was it licensed for?
It was a 7-bedroom HMO.
No, I said, what was it licensed for?
But it was licensed for 6.
Yeah, okay. So it was licensed for 6, but then there was a cupboard that was being used as a bedroom. But then we come along and we turn it all around.
We need to get Darren on.
Yeah, we come into the scene and we turn it all around and we take all of the illegals out of it. And what happens then? It becomes a fully functioning now 8-bed. This one is.
Yeah.
But huge rooms, huge communal spaces, great accommodation.
This
so much
is-
so that we got it tenanted already. And it was only finished, before? Fully tenanted.
No, fully let before it was finished. Like literally the tenants are just moving in now. So what we were doing, because we market the rooms prior to them actually becoming available, because then obviously you're trying to manage the no void rule so that you're making money straight away. But then we had a little bit of a delay just getting a few finite snag details done on site. But now everybody's moved in, everybody's happy, and they've helped us. Because the great thing about that is when people actually move in and they start using the things that you've done, then you know if there's any little tweaks here and there that need to be made, which are dealt with really quickly. So again, it's about managing the tenant's expectation at the same time.
So hey, listen up. We are live in multiple places. Whether you're on Instagram, you're on YouTube, you're on LinkedIn, you're on Facebook. Just start tagging some people. Why don't you share? Why don't you tag some people? Oh, there we are. Everywhere. We're everywhere.
How do I do that?
Yeah. Then it's yeah. So wherever it is, start tagging some people. Ask your questions here, wherever it is. Because look, if you didn't catch us live, but you're on the replay, put hashtag replay. But what we'll also be doing is we'll take the questions. We'll produce little mini videos, little 2-minute, 5-minute videos, depends how long it takes to answer your question. And you need to go subscribe to the YouTube channel, because that's where the majority of the pre-recorded stuff goes, where we're bringing the value to you, and you. So let's make that happen. So
yeah, current and latest one that's just been finished, like Mark said, was an 8-bedroom HMO. We massively added value. We added a lot of square footage to the property as well, just to give them a much greater communal space than they had before. Because again, not only is it an 8-bedroom, but it's also a sui generis planning approved HMO in an Article 4 area, because some of the rooms are for dual occupancy, and that simply means that we can put couples in some of those bedrooms. So for example, one room that we are renting to a couple is £650 a month they're paying, compared to, say, if it was a single occupancy, it'd be more like 500, maybe 550, because they're quite decent sized rooms. Like most of the rooms are enormous, aren't they? Like massive.
Wonderful property. It's very big.
Very good cash flow.
I tell you what, it's like a similar one that we just went to see the other day with a couple of real life tribe members, where I even said it from the street. So you'll see the video when it goes live. On the street, it looks, but like we wasn't fooled by it, because obviously we understand the situation. But on the street, it looks like what investment opportunity? What is, like, this is just an average street. This is an average street with small little tiny houses. How can this be?
But that's how everyone looks at it as well, don't they? They're like, what?
But the house goes so far back. One of them old style terrace houses that goes really far back with huge potential that's already been converted. In fact, this was one of probably the most high spec, like in its current condition, one of the most high spec houses that I've ever seen taken on for a property investment. Because the kitchen was so new, it still had the cellophane. Is that what it's called?
Well, it's like
the plastic coating on the drawers and the doors and everything. It was just unbelievable. So we had another question here. Here we go. What's the yield in that area?
Listen, it totally depends on what you're looking at, Amma, because
you tell him the right side fluffy story. I'll tell him the real stuff, because we got a sheet of stuff and it ranges. I mean, we got some that are like 15, 16%. We got
it totally depends 12, on the deal. That's a really varied question. But Article 4 wise, in that area, the rooms were valued at, when the end value, because we've had it refinanced now. So we bought it for 312,500, and it was revalued at 530,000, because we don't want to maximize the leverage. We are taking out money and then obviously making our cash flow amazing, and it's on a commercial repayment mortgage at the same time. So we're going to be building the equity every single month.
I'm interested about something though. That's the beauty of doing things live like this. Why yield? Tell me why you want to know what the yield is. Yeah, and while you think about that and write that in, we're going to answer this question. What types of grants can we get for a HMO?
Yeah, so this is a brilliant one. So grants or awards or loans that you can get, always reach out to your council and ask them. So we've got like an empty homes department in some of the councils that we work with, and they offer sometimes 0% empty homes loans, which there are certain criteria that you'd have to meet to be given and awarded one of these. But if you can get some money and they help you put the house back into use so that it creates quality living in their area, when obviously there is definitely not enough housing across country. So they are going to give you some money, and on our experiences it's been 0%, but it depends on your council, so always ask a question. If you've got an empty homes department, see if they have any grants or loans available. And also, you just speak to somebody in the planning department or your HMO officers, or again, the empty homes, and say, look, we're looking for some help towards refurbishing a property and bringing it back into use. And sometimes some of the councils up north, like in Liverpool and the Wirral and places like that, we know that they've been given loans up to like 5,000 grants up to £5,000, where that's just a grant, they don't have to pay it back. So they're being gifted this money to help and aid them to provide quality living out of these houses that otherwise wouldn't be able to be used anymore because, you know, they're not fit for purpose. So that just gives them, it's a free investor. It's a free investor.
Well, it's just free money.
It's free money.
It's free money. Yeah, and you get loads of different options, and depending on how you balance your assets and you want to protect yourself, which is all absolutely very important, will depend on because, you know, we sometimes refinance or we'll sell the property and then we'll use the money to pay it off to increase the cash flow, even though it's free money. But if for that particular property, because like we're reporting by company, per property, and even by room, so we know what rooms are even being rented on a profit and loss basis. So here's a big thing. So look, check this out. This is very carefully. So how do you price up a property that is selling as a business that is to continue? So I believe what Shirley-Ann is saying is, you know, the business is going to carry on. So how do you price it up? Or I'm guessing what she means is, how do I value it if I want to buy it? Because the next part says, because there's planning for 2 self-contained flats above the business, would you buy it as commercial but split the titles once refurb of flats has been done? Now, it's probably best to, I think actually, we had this conversation. Why splitting? And it was literally just because when they open the book and all the paperwork's being done, it's easy to do it while the books are open rather than it close. And
one transaction.
Yeah, one transaction, one set of papers while they're doing the purchase of the property and all the rest of it. It's
future-proofing as well, because if you decided to sell the commercial unit and keep the residential upstairs, then obviously that would be easier later on to do that and just make a flippant decision and say, hey, the business that's downstairs that's been leasing it for however long wants to purchase it now. Yeah, we can sell it to you because it's already done. Yeah,
but it depends what you're explaining here. Are you explaining just the paperwork and the legal side of splitting it? Or if you're future-proofing, depending on how the property is made up of. If it's made up of where you've got to split services to make the split of the title work, then doing that up front is, in my opinion, not much easier. It's critical. You know, because why would you want to get things finished and have to go in afterwards, start ripping stuff up and moving things about?
But I think she's saying that it's selling as a business. So again, if you can just elaborate a little bit, Shirley-Ann. So is it currently got an income? Is it currently a going concern? So is there a contract already in place for whoever's renting it downstairs? Yeah. So things like that, because obviously if that's the case, you can't go in messing up.
Yeah. But all of that is relevant. But at the same time, it just comes down to the formula.
Yeah.
The formula of what's it going to be worth when you finish with it? How are you going to add value to it? If your strategy is to recycle the money, meaning refinance and be able to take the money back out and investors' money back out. Excuse me. If investors or whatever the situation is, they're talking about leaving money in, they want to get a return on investment for their money that they're making work for them, then what we're talking about after that is, well, what cash flow is coming from the business based on how much money I've got in, then I can work out my ROI, what the annual net cash flow is. then okay, what money do I have to put in to make these, split titles, or do you say it's planning permission to get it done? Yeah. So I'm guessing it's doing its refurbing and all the rest of it. So again, what money? So you might be just doing two different calculations as if they're two different deals, but then you bring it all together. To put it in a simple way, because I know we had someone else who's doing like one property, but they're doing three different things with the same property.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So calculating values and money in, money out, and all of that stuff. Yeah. Easy just to break it down.
Also at the same time, with that deal, do you want to have two separate incomes? Because obviously if you've got a commercial asset that you've got a nice annual income of say 15,000 or whatever it might be, and then you've also got the upstairs that is going to be giving you a net passive income when that's rented out, and also think outside the box. So yeah, it's a deal right now and it possibly is let downstairs, but you've got planning for 2 flats. How can you maximize and make this into a mega deal? Has it got precedent to do more with the asset? So I know it's nice and simple to buy it. I mean, definitely buy it with the game of, yeah, at least we've got this planning approved on it, so we could go forth and just do that. But also at the same time, have a look at it, get the floor plans and see, can you make more out of the opportunity rather than just what it is right now? So we've had deals where you've got a property and it's got pre-approved planning to make like 7 flats, but yet when we reviewed it, it was like you could make 12 studio flats in this place. Or you could make 9 studio flats with 2 breakout areas and then a commercial unit downstairs that would give you probably an annual income of about 15,000. So there are so many more opportunities that could be created just from this one deal. So just analyze the deal a little bit and see where you might be able to add even more value. And also on another hand, if the commercial unit is not let right now, or even if it is, but it's coming to an end of its lease, do you want to see about what the opportunity might be to make that into a residential space as well? Because again, that could be an open opportunity. We've got a few things right now and other deals that we've been looking at and going through with other people that they're looking to change the commercial aspect into a residential. So again, it's about analysing, what can the deal bring me? What can I do with it? Yes, we've got pre-approved planning, but that's maybe not maximizing the opportunity or the asset itself. So yeah, hope that helps.
So I'm sure there's going to be 2 versions of the answer to this question, but do you guys have any overseas tenants? If so, how best would you advise to reference check them? On the
RLA, Residential Landlords Association, we aren't able to credit check as they don't have UK addresses. Thanks, guys. That's a question from Abby. So we do absolutely, we have overseas tenants, but because obviously we run as a business, we get the letting agent, they do all of these checks for us. So they do the referencing, they do the credit checks, and obviously checking and guarantoring that rental income as well if they haven't got the right credit and things like that, because obviously it depends on the type of tenant. Is this an overseas student?
Somebody tag Craig Phillips, either Claudine or Vicky or B, you know who that guy is.
Oh no, I can't.
Oh yeah, you could. Well, yeah, actually that's best. Yeah, you can answer that question. There's another question about.
Yeah, so what I would say is, if you want to scale and do this as a business, then doing and managing them yourself is not always the best outcome. Now, it's fine to begin with, but the amount of time and effort, and you've got to think, like, you focusing on dealing with all of these kind of checks with people, are you utilizing your time in the best way? Are you missing out on income generating tasks that you could be doing, like finding more deals, finding more investors, than dealing with tenants? So when you've got a letting agent that you've built up a rapport with, that you can trust, that can take care of this stuff for you, so you don't just leave them to it, far from it. You will have regular contact and manage them as well as them managing your asset. But it means that you're having one conversation instead of lots of conversations, because then down the line, you're going to get things that are coming in to you, potential challenges, things like that you're going through with the tenants, that if you're going to get a letting agent in to manage that for you, you can focus on other areas of your business, growth and everything like that. Now, I understand sort of on this rent to rent platforms that some of the tribe members are using, and I know a lot of them have self-managed and things like that as well. So if it's more short-term, or you've got like service accommodation, things like that, obviously it's a very different strategy depending on how you are putting this across. What I would say though, just my advice, is definitely look to maximize the business and the income and how you're going to do it by looking at the time you're spending dealing with this compared to what you could be generating for your business. But if you are going to self-manage, there is absolutely some great websites out there where you can get credit check agencies. So you can get agencies now, like outsourcing them, that do your reference checks and your credit checks all in one go. So you can just outsource it to them to do those parts. But again, there's lots of, if you're going to be self-managing, there is lots of things that you're going to need to be registered with, and legislation and things like that, to be able to take care of the tenants adequately, as well as deposit protection schemes and things like that. So just be aware of all of those things, because you'll need to have them in place for refinances and things like that. So I hope that has helped you. I'm just going to see if there's another question, but keep the questions coming in, because this is brilliant. This is exactly the kind of stuff that we want to help you guys with. Okay, so just in answer to the question that we were talking about before, the commercial to residential that Shirley Ann has. So she's got pre-planning for 2 flats and then a commercial unit downstairs that's already got the planning accepted, saying that it's been a going concern for 35 years. Okay, so what are the plans for that existing business that's running out of that unit? Do they want to keep going? Is there opportunity to add value? Or you know, what is the income? Like, ascertain what the income is. Does it work for you still on this basis? Or is it not working for you on the numbers? And then you obviously have to change the tack, because then if you decide that actually, no, I want to make this into a residential, either you want to make it into residential, or you want to make it a more income generating commercial asset, then obviously you can look to add value there, like Mark was saying. So just ascertaining what the deal actually is and what it can do for you is really important at this stage. So I would just look at the deal, review it, get the floor plans up, see how much more you could do to it to add even more value. And if that means keeping the existing commercial dwelling as is and just buying it as a going concern, absolutely great. But are they valuing them individually or not? If it's one whole unit, again, look at what's the point here. Maybe if I'm going to keep this as a commercial letting unit and I'm going to create the whatever residential use upstairs, maybe just keeping it as one dwelling. If you've got future proof to keep it and keep renting it out, then just leave it as it is. But valuation wise, you will be getting valuers around there, and they will value it based on the income that it currently has in the business. And then there'll be a factor of how they work that out. So if there's not been any sold ones, then again, ring commercial agents, Shirley Ann. So ring commercial estate agents and say, we've got this business, it's a commercial to residential use class. We're trying to understand the valuation here based on what it currently is and what we plan to do to it. And they should be able to give you a guide, because if they were selling that as a going concern, they would have to use a formula to value it. So you just need to ask them what it is that they do. How would they value it in their opinion? Or what can you look for? So just asking for advice there.
Did you answer this one already?
No, not got to that one yet. So what are the good and bad points?
Buying an existing HMO.
What are the good and bad points of buying an existing HMO?
So I tell you, this answer depends on your strategy, because you could say one of the bad points is that
legacy tenants that might not be very good. So
yeah,
existing tenants.
No, that's a fair shout. I was thinking something along the lines of actually not being able to add value to it, but we just had 2 examples this week of existing HMOs that are totally going to be added value to, and actually that's what does stop people going for a certain. Well, I mean, we just bought those 2. I suppose that's where that question's come from. We just bought 2 that were HMOs. We just bought it a while ago. We're just finishing them, and I suppose one thing is the price is higher. The price you buy it for is going to be higher because it's already, known. Income generating, higher cash flow. Well, higher income. Let's not say cash flow, because it's not always cash flow.
The great point in buying an existing HMO, say in an Article 4 area, so the great point there is that it's already got existing lawful use. So when Article 4 might have come in, it's been running as a going concern HMO, so you don't have to go through the whole planning process unless you're looking to add bedrooms. But again, if it's already a functioning HMO in the area, it means that you don't have the planning restriction there. So it's just a case of amending it and upgrading it to how many rooms extra you may look to add. So that's a really good point about buying a HMO in an Article 4 area. But again, like Mark said, it's just about getting it still for the right price.
Yeah, but it depends on your strategy, because we've seen people, and we've sold a HMO. We sold a HMO for someone who just wanted to park their money in it.
Instead, for pensions and stuff.
So to get a return on their investment, to get their cash working for them. So think about that. I mean, I don't know if it's gone out yet, but there was a post that we did, or what I was talking about is like, get passive income, create passive income. So you can do what you really want to do, or that you do what you're supposed to do, like what you were here for, what's your purpose. Because without that freedom, without that freedom, really, you get stuck. You get stuck chasing something that you thought was what you wanted to do, like a career or, a particular job, or you settle for having a job, but at the same time, just looking forward to the weekend, or just looking forward to your one hobby or your two hobbies that you can go do. And I know this truly because that's what I got stuck into. Well, why did I start talking about that?
I don't know. But also a bad point
about
buying an existing HMO. Another bad point is if you want to go in and totally renovate the property, and it's got existing tenants in, and you've not got vacant possession upon completion, obviously you can't start work to the property until you've got vacant rooms. So you could, if you've got it part rented, or some move out as soon as you purchase goes through, and then you've only got a few rooms available, you can go like a room by room, but obviously just bear in mind it's going to take that bit longer to get it completely refurbished. We prefer, we did it two ways. We had two. So we had one, like Mark said, that was fully let. We sort of moved the good tenants over, and then they stayed in there and just paid and serviced the loan that was covering it for the time being, whilst we fully renovated the one next door. Now that was empty. We then moved any tenant, gave them first refusal to move from that property into the new one that was all fully refurbished, to now make that one vacant, so we can go in and totally chop it up and down and make it even 1,000% better than it currently is. But if you've got a property that is a current HMO and they've got tenants in there that want to stay, and they're obviously paying certain rents, what are you taking on in regards to that? And if you want to add value, how are you going to do that if it's got tenants currently in there? That was another point on that.
Beautiful.
About ROI.
Yeah, so don't worry. So here's the next question. Yeah, how did your commercial lender work out the GDV on your latest project? Is that something we want to share?
Yeah. So GDV, so gross development value on the current project. So it was based on lots of different variables. So it's annual income, annual rental income that the property is generating, what the property was, like the finish, the asset itself, the planning, use class of the building as well, because we'd obviously done a planning and had it accepted to become a 8-bedroom, 12-person HMO. So it was a sui generis 12-person, which makes it more valuable. And then also sold price comparables, and where necessary, where they couldn't get a HMO comparable, they would utilize a residential one that was as similar in size. So we had a few on there that were like just larger residential properties, but what our property didn't have in the square footage, it had an annual income of over 50,000 per annum. So it was totally on that basis that we were able to get this number. So they just did, it was like times, so it was annual income, and then they did it, it was about a times 14 in this, because it's an Article 4 area, but it worked out about 70,000 per room. 70,000 a room, 65, 70,000 a room, which was towards the lower end. Now, what was interesting on this valuation, I was a bit frustrated, but we were talking to the valuer and he was brilliant because he's very open and he's like, hey, this is the situation. So we get the number that is factually correct, which was 650,000 for the property asset as it was and what it was worth, and normal comparables. However, based on the sold price comparables, which is like fact, truth, evidence as to what it's worth based on what's been sold, the fact of the matter is you can only prove up to a certain number because you have to give factual evidence to the bank. So because of the lack of sold price comparables, sometimes it's not an issue, but in this case it was. Now, it doesn't mean
well,
that it's
actually, based on how we wanted to move forward, if we wanted to go and spend time toing and froing and understanding, because this is what the commercial aspect is. If we wanted to go to and fro in and like prove the case of what that could be worth and what it would be worth and all of the rest of it, because the truth is the reason there wasn't sold comparables is because it's an Article 4 area. And people are just not selling that size HMO that's functioning well. Yeah, if it's functioning well and it's producing income, people are just not selling that.
Because it's brilliant.
Yeah, because,
why would you sell
because
it?
the demand is so high, hence there's an Article 4 in place. So that's why the lack of thing. So we just went with it because it still works for our strategy. We can still mix things about. We've got another property that's going through refurb in that same company that obviously we can then readjust and all the rest of it, which again, because it's a lower, higher cash flow.
Yeah, absolutely.
The high cash flow. If you like cash flow as well,
passive income,
put hashtag
baby.
cash flow, but also wherever you're watching this, make sure you keep tagging people. It doesn't matter if it's on the replay. In fact, you should put hashtag replay so we know, and keep asking your questions, because we will put videos together to answer any questions that come afterwards. Yeah, so make sure that you get that up to date, or keep up to date, by go and subscribe to YouTube channel Real Life Group and turn on the notifications so when new videos go out every day that you're getting notified. Here's an interesting question. How do you keep all your business cards, credit cards and PIN numbers organized, and how do you and do you allow your PAs access, or I'm just guessing anybody access? So your answer is short, you don't organize them.
They are in a nice little book.
Yeah, so look, here's the thing.
In a safe, in a vault at the bottom of the sea.
No, come on, let's give him some useful advice. So useful advice, number one, there are certain cards, especially like the business cards and current accounts and all the rest of it. I'll be honest with you, we don't even know the PIN number to them. Why? Because it's not really, we're going anywhere to buy something on the card. It will always be done online, if anything. But what I would highly recommend, and then this is why these are the ones you need to keep track of, is have business credit cards. Yeah, and business cards, because it's great for cash flow, but there are some amazing cards out there that can get you super value when it comes to like gaining points and all the rest of it. I mean, there's some cards that we're getting points on. I don't even know what you're supposed to trade the points for. No, honestly, there is a card I don't know. I mean, I know it's gathering points, but I don't know what to claim. But one day I'll look into it, and I'm sure there'll be a few,
treats.
Good, yeah, there's a few. No, there'll be a few good. There'll be a few good things that we can do with that. In regards to PIN numbers, I'm not sure I want to share that right on here, but there are some special tips which you could ask in the Real Life Tribe Mastermind, which is after this. Huh?
Just go to the machine and change it so that they're all the same.
This is correct. She does not organize.
No, so you get your PIN number, and as soon as you receive it,
you want to just go and change it and have it all the same.
Yeah, just
go very secure, guys. So if you wanted to follow that advice, then you can do that. Yeah, or I tell you what, a better piece of advice is just get a Sharpie pen, yeah, and write it. But make sure you use the whole card. So the whole card, yeah, just write the 4 numbers across the whole card. Yeah. Yeah, that'd be good, wouldn't it? But if you do that, what you got to remember is to have a look at it before you shove it in the machine. Because when you shove it in the machine, it's going to cover one of the numbers up. So if you don't remember what that is, then you obviously have to cancel the transaction.
And do you allow your PAs access?
And take it back out. Not to my cards, no, but if they're business cards, then you can have supplementary cards, which is awesome because it tells you what's being spent on each of the different cards. So no one's going to go rogue. And if they do, yeah, there's a punishment. It's the chicken dance. No, okay. Yeah, no, severe punishment. Yeah, I unleashed the Trisha on her. Yeah, but what I do is we talk about something really emotional first, and then I let her on. And then that's it. They don't stand a chance. Does that answer your question? Let me know if that answers your question. Anybody watching, wherever it is you're watching, let me know if that answers your question. So I was going to keep the business, extend downstairs for beauty and nail bar. I think reading the question like this suits the actual statement.
Thank you so much. I'm really grateful.
That's not a question.
So the one I have in mind can have value added to it, but it also comes with some very long-standing tenants. Okay, awesome. So if your plan is to go in and renovate straight away to add value, to boost it up, you can ask for the sale or the agreed like price that you're going to buy the property for is subject to vacant possession, subject to vacant possession. So you can put that as a part of your terms and conditions. Sold subject to contract means that you have to exchange an agreement in the contract, and part of your buying it for this amount of money, blah, 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 is vacant possession upon completion. So if they can't agree to it being vacant upon completion, then obviously you're going to have to go back to the table and say, how might this work? Because if you've got long-standing tenants in there and you want to renovate the property, you know, you may have to wait as they start to gradually move out. You go room by room, but like I say, then just you need to factor that in. How much extra does it cost for you, et cetera, in being longer, but equally you will have income from the day dot. So it's totally just depends on the deal. So it's worth analyzing. If you're in the real life tribe, which I think you are, so get on to the mastermind. That'll be some good chat to go through those questions as well and get a bit more info.
Do your valuers charge for a prospective valuation?
So what I think Steve means by this, so do they charge for like a pre-valuation? So you've got two things. You can do if you're doing like a bridge to let product with a proper commercial bank, you will pay for a pre-valuation, which will give you what the price is that you're paying for it now. So is it worth what I'm paying for it now? And then they will give you a proposed gross development value valuation as well, based on market rents at the time and all of that kind of stuff. So it won't be actual from the end, but it will give you a guide of what it's likely to be worth once you've done what you're going to do to it, because it's like development. Or there's the other thing that you can also do is pay for a private prospective valuation, which is what Steve, I think, is talking about. So this is that you find a commercial valuer, they go out to the property, they tell you, yes, look, this is my valuation report, this is what I think it's worth. Think the thing that you do need to think about is that you must think of the end when you're doing this, because if you pay for a private valuation to be completed and then the bank that you choose to do your lending with afterwards, when the product is like either at the beginning of the initial purchase or it's at the end of the purchase, the valuation that you've had done may be completely redundant, just in the respect that that valuer is not on the panel. They are not on the lending panel for these banks. So if you've done that, that's great for you. It's great, you know, for your investor to have a guide and a real fact guide as to what the property is going to be worth now and at the end. Am I going off on a tangent?
Why is that?
But it's good. So
are you asking me the question, or are you asking yourself the question?
No. So, but I like this stuff. So what I would do is, in this instance where you're looking for an initial, like, should I buy the property or not guide, then absolutely go ahead and get a prospective valuation done. That's no problem. But if you're thinking that, look, the numbers stack up based on your own due diligence and stuff, crack on, get a proper products based on what your broker would advise is best for this deal, and you're going to have to pay for a pre-valuation anyway. So you're going to have to go through those mirrors anyway, because you'll get a pre-valuation, and then once you've completed your works, you'll have another valuation at the end.
You know what? Let's do one specific video just about that. If you want that, if you think that'll be useful, just to go into the detail and focus purely on that for one video, yeah, then what do you want them to write?
Hashtag
valuations.
Hashtag valuations.
Hashtag valuations. So let's do that. So here's one.
And also come to the event, because we talked about it.
Well, just sign up to
Real Life Property.
Well, that as well. But just register on Real Life Group YouTube channel, and make sure you turn on notifications. Make sure you comment. Make sure you share, so more people can get the value that they need to get these questions answered. So here's one. Look, what if I'm a foreign investor? How can I qualify for a mortgage or bridging finance in the UK for HMOs or fix and flips? I think it just means like refurb and flips and stuff. Yeah. So look, the beauty is that we already got many people in the Real Life tribe who are not from the UK, and they are making it work for them. There's loads of different options. So I would guess as well, it would depend upon where you're from, on how, if you could get lending by yourself. Also, we see a lot of people setting up limited companies, and they are then a shareholder and director. UK-based limited company. So then the lending goes against there. And then there's various other securities that can be given to lenders, like personal guarantees and things like that. There's also things like joint ventures that people are doing. So if you're overseas, you can joint venture. There's a lot of people who trust each other in the Real Life tribe because they know they've been trained.
Because he's saying a foreign investor. So maybe you've got money, Mike, but then somebody in the UK has got time, experience, and can manage the project. Or
just another part of the team,
And maybe can get lending in the UK and stuff like that.
So again, all these videos and little tips on joint venturing, raising money, and all of that stuff, and getting it to work, and all of that. In fact, we should do another video on mortgage. What mortgages for what deals, what loans, like what loans or what banks or what lenders.
But we will say that we are not FCA regulated, and you would need to get your own financial advice.
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah, so I hope that answers your question right there, because I know you're very committed. I wanted to get that question answered, so good job. So here's one. Let me read that out.
So question, planning approved for a conversion of a single dwelling into 3 dwellings, but one condition for the development is that no parking permits or visitors permits will be given to the property for the lifetime of its conversion, 3-bed, 2-bed and studio. So what, for the development?
So what he's saying is...
hang on, no parking permits or visitors will be given to the property. So he's saying, number 1, suck it up and live with it. Number 2, go back and appeal, wasted time, effort, cost, etc.
How much would it cost for appeal?
First of all, appeals, the process with actually appealing it through the council is free, but you will have to obviously get I would advise that you get an expert that deals with planning appeals to deal with it for you, because you're not going to know all the best tricks and tips and ins and outs to manage something like that. And if you want to have the best chance of overturning a decision, you want to make sure you've got the expert in. But hang on, our conversion of single dwellings, 3 dwellings, but one condition for the development is that no parking permits or visitors. So can you just clarify, Savas, like, in fact, you can bring this up on the mastermind as well.
I don't know if he means lifetime of the conversion. Does it mean just while the work's going on?
Yeah, so do you mean for your builders and for things like that? Like, yeah, you just need to let us know, because I'm not sure.
I think that's how I understand it. That's how I understand it, and that's probably why I'm saying waste of time and all that stuff. So it does depend on that.
But it sounds like a great deal still, so go for it.
Yeah. Do you have to pay 3 times per valuer?
No. So when you're initially, so for example, if you've got a bridge to let product, or you've got a development lending product, so there's a lot of people in the tribe now doing finance where they're also lending the refurb money as well as the purchase money. So you just have to put a slightly bigger deposit up front, and then they will give you the purchase money and then the refurb as well. So this, for example, if you've got the beginning product, the value will be sent out. Now, remember the value, we're going to do a separate video on it, because I'm going to go off on a
what?
tangent again. Or do you want me to do it?
No, we can do a separate video.
We can do a separate video.
Listen, hold on. Let's just.
But no, you don't pay 3 times.
Okay, so what we're gonna do right now? You vote, guys. Do you want the video? Yeah, put hashtag value. Hashtag value if you want the video. Yeah, and put hashtag value if you want the video to be done immediately when we end this live. Yeah, so
hashtag Trisha's not doing that.
Well, listen, it's got to take you enjoying yourself. Yeah, we've got time. I think that'd be a good piece of. She's saying no, she doesn't want to give you the value.
I absolutely want to give the value.
Well,
I'm just saying.
If you want to give the value, look, you're wasting your time. If we could get on with this, then we could do it. And literally, you don't have to move. I'm just going to switch around there, put the camera on you. I'm just going to 1, 2, 3, action, and you're going to answer the question, detailed, awesome, amazing. No, don't change the subject.
I'm just reading the questions.
No, it changes the subject. So, look, what do you do if your proposed valuation comes back lower than you need? Most people scream,
run away and hide,
cry, give in, don't do it again, panic, start taking antidepressants. I don't know what they do. But what we do here in the Real Life Tribe is, first of all, we breathe, because it's just another thing that sometimes happens. Now, I will tell you some, because I'm sure, okay, you want to know what to do if it happens. But this is our speciality. Yeah, it's not about doing the whole kind of, oh, this is how it works and everything goes perfect. No. What it's about is, anybody knows how to do it when it's going well. You need to learn how to handle the situation when it's not going your way. Yeah, so it's a great question you've asked. But we have made some mistakes in the beginning, and it happened, in fact, on this other one that we just did, the one that came about 5:30. Yeah, is where in the beginning, and that's why it's so important you do the video immediately. You know, this energy, you got this power going on. But
yeah, because originally that value for that property that we've just refinanced was originally pre-valued at 400,000. So we got 130k, so it's actually more, 130k more when we revalued it when it was actually finished, because due to what happened in the beginning, it was downvalued in the beginning. So we'd said, right.
So we had to raise more money.
We start with the end in mind. Yeah, we got a bit more money out of our investor because we went back and said, look, it's been downvalued, blah, blah, blah. This is the thing.
So rather than normal 25% deposit, we was putting that because we had it aside. But then the extra money that now wasn't going to be lent to us by the bank because of the value of the property was less, then we had to go raise that money. But you've got to talk about that in the other video, because really what we're going to talk about now is, okay, you need to know what to do, but also you need to not make the mistakes that we made previously, which is like rushing into it, settling or not doing the due diligence in the first place of how are people valuing properties in that area in the first place. What is the information? What are they going off? Are they going off? Are you bored of what I'm saying?
No, I'm just looking at everybody so that they don't feel ignored.
They don't look at that one. That's a side line. That's just like a cup to them.
Oh, okay.
Ooh, Timmy.
I don't.
Yeah, so can you say? I don't think you can say that on live TV. Yeah. So what was I saying? What was I funny? Nobody knows what that means. So hey, listen.
South Park.
Yeah. What are you doing?
What, they do know what it means.
What they do now? Snitch. 1 week of open separation, and she's snitching on me already in public now.
You're bullying me into doing a live video.
I'm not bullying you. If the people want it, if the people want it, the people want it.
Hashtag yes.
Yeah, whoever's going to edit this video and answering this question is going to have a hard time. Yeah. So anyway, what I was saying is, you need to not make the mistakes that we did, and like sometimes rush into it, or just say it'll be all right, we'll sort it out on the final refinance. Don't do that. Make sure that you're understanding fully what the prop valuation is going to be, and you're doing the proper. Because I think sometimes it might have been a bit laziness as well, because we started doing a few and everything was working fine. So then you stop giving them all the information, helping them figure out. Because in doing that, and you do your research yourself, but then you can hand it to them, send it to the valuer and say, hey, look, here's some additional stuff in, what you might be doing yourself. Might help, it might not. And just leave it to them. I mean, you don't want to tell them what to do. Yeah. Because then in doing that, you then have proper research of what are the comparables, how people work it out. Is there a per room value? Is it being done on a multiplier of rents? Is it a combination? Because there's all of those things. Do they expand the area? Do they include like 7-bed houses with a similar size and all that stuff? Yeah, understand?
Yeah.
What are you doing? Did you fall asleep then for a minute? No, you know how I feel. Oh, look,
So
valuation.
listen,
Hashtag valuations. These people. So Trisha's got to do it. She's
so guys,
accountable to
real
them.
life tribe members, get yourself rested. Get yourself a cup of tea. Get yourself ready.
Why rested?
The mastermind is coming up at 8
Well, we've got to see if there's any more
p.m.
questions. There's another question. We can't.
Yeah, but I'm just letting.
He's trying to cut it short. No, what are your top tips for snorting on live TV? Oh no, sorry, that's not a question. What are your top tips to secure non-property investors with whom you want to build portfolios? What does that mean? What are your top tips to secure non-property investors? What does that mean?
So they're not already investing in property.
Oh, what? And you know,
so they've got money, but they're interested. So already interested now. Need to convince them.
Yeah, I tell you what it is with that.
Katie.
I mean, yeah, it absolutely is. And have you ever been? Has she ever been to Real Life Property Wealth?
I don't think
have you been to Real Life Property Wealth? 14th and 15th of March is the next one. Yeah, so get yourself there. It's in London. It doesn't matter if it's on the moon. You make your way there, and we give you a whole process on how to do this. In fact, we do it in the room. And in fact, last time we broke the record from 64 people. That's it. There's only 64 people. Can you believe that? 64 people raised. You're not going to believe this. They raised £339,000 from a 20-minute exercise. Yeah, that's what just happened in the exercise. What happens afterwards? Because now you've dropped a big rock in the pool and there's a big ripple effect that happens. Yeah. Then that's astronomical. It's got to be in the millions, surely.
Yeah, millions.
With that much raised right there and then, we're not far from a million anyway. But what are the top tips? Let's just give them. I mean, number one, you gotta know how to present the deal. So quality numbers, quality due diligence. You got to be a people person. Yeah,
because remember, they're investing. If you're saying you want to build a portfolio with them, that's great. So then they need to buy into you so that they know they have faith in you finding these amazing deals for which they will build a portfolio of.
Is that done? Are you finished on that now?
Yeah. Sorry, I was reading the next question because you took it away.
Are you finished?
But yeah, that's what I would do. You need to get to Real Life Property Wealth because we talk in depth about this whole process and getting you prepared so that you can absolutely serve and give so much value so that your investor is like, yes, when you present them with a deal, because they've got something, you've got the other thing, and it's just a great partnership. And because it's about creating a win-win situation for everybody. So you're not just like, hey, give me some money, I'm going to do this. It's about the way that you manage the relationship. But also, if you want to build a portfolio with them, it's not so they give you money for a fixed percentage for an amount of time and then they go away. You know, this is building a portfolio together is a different kettle of fish. So you need to make sure you analyze it properly. So get to Real Life Property Wealth, 14th and 15th of March, and we will make sure that you are prepared to handle the amazingness that is coming to you, Katie.
So because we're going to record this video straight away after this, we've got to just be quick on these two questions, and then the rest of them we're going to do separate videos after. So make sure you subscribe to YouTube channel because that's where they're going to be, and put on the notifications and start sharing the channel and get all your friends there as well, and we'll do more. So with properties down south, is it possible you can pull out more money when refinancing a residential mortgage, not commercial one? So look, totally depending on the situation. What's the deal? What's the numbers? What is it you're doing? I mean, I'm not sure if it's an investment property, why you're going to do a residential mortgage, unless you're talking about living in a house and doing a refinance. But if it's worth more, quickly, would you just pop that on there? Just press it and start it again. What is that? Yeah, go on again. Yeah, so what I was saying is residential mortgage, I'm assuming that you live in there, and I mean, I don't know. I need to know a little bit more about the situation.
I get Louise's question. So
how'd you get the question?
About refinancing. What she's thinking is, I think it's based on valuations that we've talked about. So you're saying, is it more money? Do you get more money out when refinancing under a residential mortgage, not a commercial one? So down south, obviously the values will be very different. So when we talk about certain areas like the Midlands and North, like 50k room, right? It will be very different because, again, there's different ways of doing a valuation commercially. Because remember, if you're down south, so for example, you might have a 5-bed or 6-bed house here that's
well.
over 30,000 a year in income, but in London the same house would be like 70,000 per, you know what I mean? So it's totally different the way that you look at it. So that goes on like a analyzation basis. So again, get onto the mastermind after this and we can go through that in a bit more detail, of course, as well as Property Wealth Turbo. What were you going to say?
Don't matter. It's gone. The opportunity for your compliment is evaporated. So look, because Trisha spoke for too much longer now, and we've got to let you go because you've got to get on the mastermind. What needs to happen is we need to just do the explain development finance in a quick video as well. So do it, yeah. Okay. Oh yeah, also she committed to that.
Well, no, I'm not a broker.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. So awesome job, people. Well done for being here. Look, if you look information, you can get it. Tell us what it is you want. If we don't know the answer, we'll find the answer. We'll bring it to you. We'll bring the experts. We'll just find it. You know, we'll make it happen. That's what's beautiful about the Real Life Tribe. Now, if you want to get yourself to Real Life Property Wealth, there is an opportunity to be immersed in content, information, strategies, but in a way that you actually can go and execute the information that you learn. Because that, believe it or not, admit it or not, is the missing ingredient from everyone. The strategy, the steps to do it, and how to figure it out. Look, when everything goes well, anybody can do it. Would you agree? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But look, it's never going to go right. It's never just going to be seamless. Who would agree with that? Comment if you agree. It's never just going to be seamless. It's never just going to work exactly the way you thought it was going to work. You need to know how to execute, twist, turn, and make things happen regardless. That's what we teach you in a 2-day program. It's called Real Life Property Wealth. Go to reallifepropertywealth.com. Get your ticket now. The last one sold out. Oh my God. It was a total, blow up of amazing transformation, and people's gone out there. The deal got accepted. The money out figure was 180. Actually got negotiated down to 170. So 10K is coming out of the deal, accepted on the day, on the stage by this lady here, or on the phone. This is how we roll. This is how quick things can happen. But then you got to know how to handle it as you move forward. So make sure you go get your ticket. It's been amazing. Real Life Tribe members, go to the mastermind. The details to access that are in your email and also in our private secret group that we have where all the magic happens. So it's been amazing, isn't it? Yeah, we need to get on with these videos. We need to do it very quickly. Good or good?
Bye, guys.
See you later. And remember, you got to do the right thing for the right reason, because that is the only way you're going to discover your truth.